Welcome to Backstory and Beyond. My name is John Daniel, and I'm humbled to be your host. But I am thrilled to be here with Mr. Alex Quintanar, who is a partner at Trade Management Solutions. Welcome, sir. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having
Much
me.
appreciated. I want to share a little bit about what Backstory and Beyond is all about. Our audience members are looking forward to becoming their best. And we look at issues like calling, purpose, service to others, and peak human potential. And I'm going to come back before we finish. I'm going to walk through each one of those components and get a couple sentences that you think might be relevant to that and how it fits your life. But that said, the floor is yours, sir. Please share with us your backstory.
All right, backstory. Born in Mexico, Aguascalientes, Mexico, very small town, second small state in Mexico. From, I would say, what you would think is a very humble family. When I was born, my parents, and this will give you a very good insight of where my parents came from. Not that long ago, a couple months ago, I was actually at my parents' house, and I was going through my photo album, and I found my 1-year-old photo album. And I opened and started looking at the pictures, and forget about the house where we lived on or whatever. I found a page at the very end, and it was a piece of paper, and it was my parents, their monthly budget. And I still remember vividly. It said rice, 10 pesos. Diapers, 1 peso, napkins, rent, this. So it said income and then expenses. And it said savings, 20 pesos, which was like $2 at the time. And that's where they came from. You know? So when I saw that and I showed my wife, I was like, wow, like, look at this. Like, this is real, you know? Like, when you think nowadays, you know, we've gone through different path, you would say, and now you don't have to worry about buying diapers. But back then, they literally shut down every diaper they bought. So that's where I came from, Mexico. My dad then worked 2 jobs when I was younger. Eventually, he worked for Xerox. Got an interview with Dell Computers. Dell Computers offered him a job in the U.S. in Austin, Texas. And they made a decision. It was a hard decision for my mom, especially, to leave their whole family behind. We would be the first ones to leave, not just Mexico, but the state and where we lived in. And we moved to the U.S. My dad worked for Dell. He did very well for himself. Eventually, opened his own company, and and here we are. So it was quite a change from Mexico into the U.S. It was an awesome experience, but a difficult one as well. I was 13 years old when I moved to the States. Did middle school, high school, eventually went to college. Then moved back to Mexico, moved overseas, moved back to the U.S. So it's been a wild ride.
I love this story. I love the way you painted the canvas. It's a piece of artwork that people could really understand. And let me be clear, folks, Alex is the son of a very good friend of mine who I've known and I've had a chance to interview. I think what's important in this process is that we are sitting here going to the next generation of this family that was considering savings. I mean, they had a mindset too, assets and liabilities. Okay, and that makes a difference in business. That said, I just have a lot of admiration, and I'm just self-reporting here for this family. And what I just heard is the first time I've heard it, and it touches my heart and it touches my head to better understand why trading management solutions is so successful. It's that authentic, genuine, down-to-earth approach to life. All that said, Alex, please share with us the mission, vision, value, so that the audience will know more about your company.
Yeah, so our mission, our values are pretty simple. We're a logistics company, and we aim to be partners for customers so they can provide a world class logistics and supply chain solutions to their customers. And we want to be as transparent and as hands on as possible. There's everyone aims to be a big corporation, a big company, right? And no matter how big we get, we want to stay humble and stay true to ourselves, which means there's a lot of advantages on small companies, right? And whenever we're fighting against the big guys like FedEx and DHL, well, you lose that personal touch, right? And that's what's helped us land a lot of big contracts with big time companies, outbidding the big guys, because we have that personal touch, that ready to go and do it without having to jump through hoops. So I think that's what has set us apart. That's what we value. That's what we keep trying to achieve, to be a smaller mindset company to where we have to go the extra mile for our customers.
I love it. I love it. Tell me, within the culture that you just described, that personal touch, and success of any company starts with the culture, because I would assume that's exactly how you treat your people, but that'll be a question for later. Please tell me your leadership responsibilities in this process.
Yes, I'm the operations director for the company. I oversee all the warehousing. We have warehousing in Miami, here in Miami, in Austin, Texas, and we do warehousing as well in Mexico City. So I'm in charge of that. I also do the business development for the company. Anytime new customers come in, I am the face of the company, you could say. Make sure that we provide the service that they require, right? What was the follow-up question to that?
Just your responsibilities.
My responsibilities.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's basically it. And I think one of the biggest responsibilities, because you can always get into the technical aspect of the business, right? But I think one of the biggest responsibilities, or at least the way I see it, is to keep the team together, to build a good team, a good community, a good culture. And that's something that I guess I would pride myself on, to build a good team. And the way we have operated from the beginning is a team family, to build a family within our team. We want people to come to work and be happy, because you spend more time at work than you do at home. So if you're not happy at home or at work, you're going to get home and you're not going to be happy. And
Yes, sir.
your life's going to be miserable. So we need to be happy at work so you can be happy at home and come back to work again.
So you don't want to drive by work. You want to go to work.
Exactly. That's exactly
I get
right.
it. I love it. I mean, once again, culture
Yep.
is one that's family oriented, just like your family was in your home. And it probably tends to move people towards being curious about getting better at what they do. But let's go back to that for a moment. So I would want to work in that kind of culture. I think most people would like to too. How do you attract, train, retain, develop the people that are working for you in this process?
I think I would say, especially here in Miami, what has really worked for us is that we have given people a chance to grow within the company. And I can give you many examples, but just to name one, we have a girl that started with us. She came from Venezuela, started in our company. She came through a staffing agency, and she was unpacking boxes. That was her job, just unpack boxes all day long, right? But you could see something in her from the beginning that I knew she was capable of more than that. And that person right now, it's you could say my right hand here in Miami when it comes to dealing with one of our biggest customers. So she has going through the ranks, and she keeps moving up, and I hope she stays with us for a long time. But that's just one example of many, right?
But let's take that example because I think it's stellar. You identified the nature of how hard she worked. You positioned her so she could be developed and move forward in the company. Alex, it doesn't get better than that in any company. I think you underscored something that's extremely important. Well said. Well said.
And to follow up on that, you do that for somebody, and then what happens? They introduce you to more people. They want to bring people to the company, and that's how you start becoming a family, right? Because the people that have come in, they are recommended by the people within the company. So they share that responsibility. So they're not going to bring you just anybody. They're going to bring you good people.
Right.
So that's how we have built the culture within the company.
So referral from good experience.
Exactly.
This is a good place to work. I know you're a good worker. Come on over.
Exactly.
And so the interview is a lot easier then, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
I love it, man. Give me a pound on that. I love where you're coming from, man. Look, in all the things we do, and I'm going back to the example you just used, inclusion is a necessary component of innovation. People coming from various walks of life and paths, challenges and problems that they've overcome. I'm making a declaratory statement. You can't have innovation in your systems without inclusion. Let me just get your reflection on that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could tell you a story why I think that's right on. And I guess a lot of people sometimes they're scared of inclusion, or they think it's being forced on you, or it's not necessary, or you have nothing to learn from them, right? But I'll give you one example to where I think perfectly reflects what inclusion does to a community or to a family or to your friends or whatever. So when I first moved to the States, talking about when I was 13, 14 years old, you're a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
So I started having a lot of friends, and all my friends used to come over to my house. My house was like the place to be, right? And there's different cultures, and there was a culture clash because American kids are very used to going into a house and walking right in and, not really greeting the parents, just kind of walk in, go to the fridge, grab food. It's basically your house, right? Well, that doesn't happen in Mexico. In Mexico is you walk in, and first you don't walk in, you knock on the door, right? And you greet the parents,
Right.
and you will never go into the kitchen and grab anything. It's very, I wouldn't say strict, but very respectful of the
Yes,
other
sir.
person,
Yes, sir.
right? It's not a one way is better and one way is worse. It's
Right.
just culture, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So whenever I was young, teenager, and my friends started coming over, and my dad one time stopped the kids and said, "Hey, where are you going?" It's like, "This is my wife. It's Marcel. I'm Hector. Nice to meet you. Welcome in. If you guys ever need anything, ask us, and we're gonna feed you like you have. We'll give you a feast, but you ask, okay?" Yes, sir. And me as a 13, 14-year-old, I was like, "Dad, I'm not gonna have any friends. What are you doing? Like, relax, like nervous about it." Well, you know what? Which house was the one that everyone wanted to come to?
Yours.
My house. And years later, those same friends that used to come over, they're still friends with my parents.
I love it.
So they like that different culture, that different background, and they learn to like it and they appreciate it, right? So I'm giving you that example because even myself that came from that background, I was nervous to introduce it to my friends. Yet they ended up liking it so much so that they're really good friends with my parents nowadays.
I adore it, sir. I mean, this is spot on point. And some of you may have seen, I just want to reflect on a couple things that Alex has said, my interview with his dad. And I can tell you that man has humble confidence. Let that ruminate a minute. So when he was speaking to those young people, he was teaching about respect, but he was giving respect. and his melodious voice, he's got a deep voice, and it commands respect, but he is a gentle bear, okay? That's the description I come up with. But, man, look, you're just bringing a lot of joy to my heart in this coffee conversation, man. I love it. I love it. Okay, listen, let's move on. You couldn't do better with that kind of example. The media is going through a massive transformation now. It has been for some time. Trends are different, but technology is moving much more quickly. And so, for instance, AI is something that for some people they're afraid of for good reason. But that said, there are a lot of things that are not true information being shared, not only about AI, but about circumstances. It could be social, emotional, political, economic, and it's just part of the media. We no longer live in the age of Walter Cronkite, and I don't know if that means anything to you, but Walter Cronkite was the epitome, the icon of a person you could trust. I'll give you an example. President John F. Kennedy was assassinated. And while every station across the spectrum, there weren't that many then, was saying he's dead, Walter Cronkite didn't say it until he had it confirmed. Okay. We could trust him. Right. Now, media and news media has become entertainment in conjunction with sharing the news. So I bring it to this. Sometimes it's hard to distinguish information from misinformation from disinformation. And that's the world we're living in. I'm curious about how you reflect on that. There's no perfect answer for this, but it does impact people you care for, your family, your family at work, because all of those people could be impacted by walking around with things in their heads that are just inaccurate. Please, sir.
Man, that's a loaded question. That's a question in everyone's mind right now, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And yeah, I mean, I actually discuss this a lot with, especially one of my friends. He's very into technology, so he understands how the algorithm works, right? Mm-hmm, so you click one picture or one photo or one post, and then that's all you'll get for the next 2 weeks.
That's right.
Right, and until your mind has completely changed or just reaffirmed your beliefs, right? And it's so easy for them to manipulate you at this point. But with that being said, I personally don't think the change of landscape in the social media, it's terrible. Yeah, there's a lot of bad things to it, 100%. But also shows like this, like what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, sir.
This wouldn't be possible a few years ago because no one would listen, right? Everyone would go to Fox News or CNN, and that was the truth. And that's it. And so nowadays with all these podcasts that you have, yeah, of course you're going to have misinformation, but you always have. But now at least you have a bigger choice of what you want to watch, right? You don't have just two sides feeding you the information, which most of the time those two sides are the same side anyways, right? You just literally change talking points here and there to keep you guys fighting. But with this change with podcasts, I mean, I love podcasts. That's all I listen to. We were talking before the interview, but I like Joe Rogan. Why? I don't think Joe Rogan's an expert on anything, maybe martial arts and comedy, right? But he brings a whole bunch of interesting people, and not just political people. He'll bring a scientist. He'll bring someone that likes Egypt. He'll bring someone that has worked on X, whatever, you name it, right?
Absolutely. And now you're looking at the world.
Exactly.
And I appreciate him too. And I can separate a person's political views from the things that they do. Right. I don't have a problem with that because my last name is Daniel. It means God is my judge. I'm not supposed to judge anybody. Right. But I like Joe Rogan because he's a martial artist too. So, but let's reflect on what you...
And just one more thing on
that.
Please. It's just not all politics because, again, you go into social media and you would think it shows all politics.
Yes.
But 90% of the people who brings in are interesting people talking about just different things, right? Like medicine or about Egypt or about flying objects and stuff
Yes,
like that.
sir. Yes,
So
sir.
it
I
kind of
agree.
clears your mind out of things. But then you go to social media and you're like, oh, Joe Rogan is just politics. I'm like, well, I don't know. I haven't even watched the politics episode in a while.
I embrace what you say, and Joe Rogan's is on my computer, so I can just
Yeah.
tap one click. I'm with you, and I want to come back to underscore everything you've said. There's a phrase. It's the democratization of broadcast. So anybody can share their voice. And I think, to your point, the good side, the very, very powerful and good side, is to give voice to those that have been voiceless. You know, if you didn't get on NBC, CBS, ABC, then you didn't get heard. Now, as you said, and as an example, you watch primarily podcast. There's no major station that doesn't have streaming and podcast, because it's a different way and a different angle to share the same thing. Hell, I think that the show about your family ought to be a show, okay? About how people are kind to each other. And I'll come back to this as we close out on this. I think there are words of action that I reflect on and consider and ruminate on as I listen to both you and your dad. But you're an apple that didn't fall far from the tree. And it simply is forgive, love, believe, serve. Each of those words ends with VE. The Greek analogy there is simply that they're words of action. And that's what I hear from you as a partner in trade management solutions. That's what I heard from your dad as the person who founded. And the thing is, you were there as it was occurring. That's a unique experience, and it's different than your dad. You know, Hector Quintanar did a great job.
Yeah.
And I'm sure your mom was right there. And you know,
Oh, yeah.
every mother in the family is really the CEO of the household. She keeps things
For
running.
sure.
But hey, man, this has been great. But a couple more things. I want to end this session by giving you the opportunity to talk about anything you want to. But before we get there, let me get your reflections on some of the words we talked about from Jump Street. There's no perfection here. It's just you from your heart. Purpose.
Purpose. What's my purpose? I believe just to be a good human, more than anything, right? And especially in today's world where everyone's so divided. And I always tell people, I'm like, I have friends from the right, from the left, from the middle, from everywhere, but they're good people. So they can have their different beliefs in how a country should be run or a government or this and that. But at the end of the day, they're all good people. Otherwise, they wouldn't be my friends.
Second word. Calling.
Calling. What is your calling? I mean, I believe your calling is whatever you're passionate about, right? And that one's a little more difficult, right? Because you sometimes you're passionate about something, but you're not making money. You do gotta make ends meet, right? So, my dad told me one day. He said, the human, as a man, you can get used to anything in this world except being hungry. So yeah, you hopefully you can find something you're passionate about and make that a living. But either way, yeah, you should follow your dreams as much as you can, right? Whatever you're passionate about.
Understood. Reflection on this. And do you have it, or does it exist? Peak human potential.
Peak human potential. Man,
That's a hard one.
that's.
But maybe that's it. Maybe there is none.
I think there is, and you see it with a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of athletes. You see what that is, right? And it's hard to get there. it's hard. It's a lot of sacrifice that a lot of people are not willing to put in the work. And I know because I played professional soccer. I played college, Clemson University, and then I went on to play pro. And uh, I made it to. My goal was always to make it to the pros, and I did. But did I achieve what I wanted to? I didn't. It was cut short, right? And I could go back and reflecting on the choices I made. You always, especially when you're younger, you're like, oh, I was unlucky because of this or this happened or whatever. And at the time, you think you're giving it your all, but there's always that extra. And once you get older, you realize, man, had I just done this different, had I pushed myself this much more, had I gotten that extra hours of sleep, had I ate better, there was less information as well. But so to reach that peak potential, it's hard, and that's why the greats are the greats, right? Like you look at Michael Jordan, Messi, all those. I mean, those guys were ruthless, and not just in the court, but in their life. Their
Yes,
personal
indeed.
life.
Yes, indeed. I mean, I think Kobe Bryant was quoted as saying, balance is overrated.
Yeah,
And not long ago, I interviewed, I love your analogy of sports. I love the fact that you are an athlete. Soccer is one of the hardest games in the world, and you got to be intelligent to do it, as you have shared with me.
yeah.
I interviewed a guy named Gotham Chopra, who created something called the religion of sports. If you haven't seen it, Google it.
Okay.
His partners are Tom Brady, 7-time Super Bowl champion, and Michael Strahan from ABC.
Okay.
And the purpose of the show going for a while now, or not the show, it really is an organization for about 10 years. They study iconic athletes like Tom Brady, Kobe Bryant, Serena Williams, Simone Biles. And each of these folks has something they reflect on. And you can, by the way, watch this on Netflix and various programs. But Simone Biles said, I got to write my own story after Tokyo.
Okay.
And she did. Serena Williams said, training is hard, but I always show up.
Yep.
Okay? Kobe Bryant said what I shared before, balance is overrated. And I'll stop there. I think what's important here is you underscored this by saying that the work is hard that you have to do. And you have to, and you said this, you didn't reach where you wanted to be. And the fact that you wanted to be better is a pearl of wisdom for our audience. That's what it takes. You'll want to be better. So you don't know, I appreciate this so much. Well, look, as we come to a close, what is it that you'd like to share? The last word would have been service, but you've been talking about that the whole time. So I'm good. Anything, if anything at all, you'd like to add to the conversation that we've had?
I mean, we've been kind of all over the place, huh?
It's been good, man. Look, I'm ready for the day no matter what happens because I'm energized.
Right.
But whatever, if it's nothing, it's fine. It's up to you.
No, I mean, just want to thank you for this opportunity. It's been a cool chat. It's
Cool,
always nice.
man.
I like this where you make it to where it's just telling your story, make you feel comfortable, and I love sharing stories about my background and because I love my background and I also love America.
Woo! I like it.
I like what I still think no matter what the media tries to tell you, this is still the best country in the world. Otherwise, everyone wouldn't want to
Give
come
me a
here.
pound on that, brother.
Yeah.
We both have traveled, and I concur. And this is not about a country. Look, what happened to Greece? What happened to Rome? We're a young country.
Yeah.
They're not around anymore. But while we're here, let's give it our best.
Yeah,
Okay?
let's keep it up there because it still is.
Yeah.
Do we have a lot of problems? Absolutely, but still the best country. That's why everyone wants to come here.
Come on now. Come on. And from the dawn of time, human beings have been less than nice to each other.
Yeah.
You mentioned this before in our conversation, dividing people.
Yep.
You divide people because you can conquer them that way.
Exactly.
And I think that it's important for us in our head, our hearts, our habits, and the use of our hands that we serve other people and that we help them move forward, because everybody that's been given birth by our Creator has a reason to be here. And we just have to kind of find out what that is in terms of purpose and calling. So, brother, look, and I'm saying that with intentionality. I appreciate you, man. And I'm sure that the employees working with you see that you're trying to see them be their best. Let's do this again, okay?
Amen.
Matter of fact, as far as I'm concerned, we ought to be doing a series with some of the people you talked about that are part of your company in conjunction with you and with Hector. And look, I love it, man. Great company, great people, great family. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.